It's strange. When we see this form, we ask what is it exactly.
You plan, you have very detailed drawings, you have digital renderings. We had an excellent sense of just what it was going to look like. But until you see the physical sculptures there and installed and see the view from the High Line and from the street and from the surrounding neighborhood, it's just not the same.
Somebody asked me, how did you get these up on the roof? And we had designed the piece so that it was built in pieces. So the very first day we had these gigantic trucks, including a crane, show up and lift the pieces onto the roofs of these two buildings. The pieces were all assembled on site, so they were prefabricated to have different elements that were welded and marked and tagged so that they would be able to be bolted and screwed together. The entire piece then, once it was kind of all laid out on the roof, was fit together, and then as an entire flat piece, it was kind of lifted up by the entire crew. Because we were fighting the wind, we had to hold on with ropes as well to keep the piece, stable as it was going up. Once the piece was actually lifted into place, then these steel support structures were bolted onto platforms on the roof.
The pieces appear to be more three-dimensional than they really are, especially if you're looking at them right from the front. They seem to have more depth. And walking the High Line, you get to move, and as your view onto the sculptures changes and you see them from different angles, you realize that in fact they're completely flat, and a lot of the sense of their volume and their recession in space is in fact an illusion.
My pieces as sculptures that reference billboards allude to that idea of a constructed landscape or a constructed vision of a neighborhood, and hopefully make people aware of how we can be active in shaping that space.
There's no advertising on them, and in part they're meant to elicit the economic recession, and in particular signs of the recession that we see in urban spaces like blank advertising billboards, empty storefronts, for sale signs.
It literally came from the signs that have been out in the world in the last couple of years that people post when there's advertising space available or there's rent space available. They're both a structure that suggests advertising and an economic depression, but they also speak to the kind of transition that can happen in a neighborhood.
The three sculptures in Space Available are designed to somewhat blend into the neighborhood, and they resemble things that one would expect to find on rooftops. And so in some ways their presence is very, very subtle. And when I think about the visitor experience of interacting with these pieces and seeing them, I think that they will probably elicit a double take. They're the kind of pieces that maybe you could walk by, and if you're not paying close attention, they might not fully register.